What's going on, guys? It's that ganglion guy, and we're back again talking about the lacrimal gland pathway. This is one of two pathways that we're going to talk about where the facial nerve, cranial nerve number 7, really shines. Yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe like always. You know, I can't be, snapping necks and cashing checks. I need to make money some other way. So, yeah, let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about, it's going to start at the inferior salivatory nucleus, my apologies, lying's fun sometimes. It's going to be the superior salivatory nucleus right here. Superior salivatory nucleus, right? And this is where cranial nerve number 7 is going to come out, right? He's going to be like, oh, let's go, right? And it's going to enter another foramen, which I'll abbreviate right here. because he is going through the internal acoustic meatus, right? And once it enters the internal acoustic meatus, it is going to, pretty much just keep going. Facial nerve just goes on to some other stuff that we'll talk about later, all right? We won't talk about here. But what we're most concerned with is the first branch that is coming out of that facial nerve, and that is going to be the greater petrosal nerve, right? And this greater petrosal nerve has not synapsed anywhere yet. So we would call this preganglionic parasympathetic. Let me put it right here. Pregang parasymp, right? So those are the fibers it's going to be carrying. But before we advance any further, before we move on, something very important that needs to happen, all right? This greater petrosal nerve cannot go anywhere without this other important nerve. Guys, I know this is confusing, but this is how science works. I don't know. So what's going to happen is you're going to have this other nerve. I guess we'll just put it right here. You're going to have this other nerve that's going to come up, and before this even happens, right, he's already going to be synapsed. He's going to be like, listen, dude, I need to be synapsed before I meet up with you. But the important part is greater petrosal nerve is carrying preganglionic parasympathetic. Keep in mind, parasympathetic. But this other nerve, which we'll title deep petrosal nerve, is going to be carrying the sympathetic portion of this whole lacrimal gland pathway. So I'm going to put right here preganglionic, because it hasn't synapsed yet, sympathetic. So what's going to happen with deep petrosal nerve is that it's going to meet a ganglion right over here somewhere, right? And I'll just put this in here. All right, it's going to meet a ganglion. What's going to happen is this ganglion, right, once it meets there, it's going to synapse, indicating that little glowy effect, right? It's going to synapse. And actually, sorry, before we advance, this ganglion is called the, what is it called? Oh, superior cervical ganglion, right? So that is where the deep petrosal nerve is going to synapse, and then once it does, it's like, okay, now we're ready to meet up with my brother here, even though he's always been great, right? We're going to meet up with our brother here, and we are going to become, so once now they meet up, they're going to become something very special. What's going to be called, there's actually two names for it. It's the Vidian, or nerve. The nerves meet up and they become nerve to Vidian canal. Now, I know what you're thinking, guys. I didn't make up these names. I don't know who Vidian is. I don't know what he wants with the canal, but that's what they're going to turn into. The greater petrosal nerve and the deep petrosal nerve, that's what they're going to turn into. And then what's going to happen is they're going to enter, what are they going to enter? They're going to enter what's called this pterygopalatine ganglion. I hope I got that right. I'm pretty sure I did. Let me think about this for a minute. Pterygopalatine ganglion, yes. Which we will call that right here. Pterygopalatine ganglion. right? So they're going to enter this pterygopalatine ganglion, but there's always a but. There's always more, right? So we're going to have what's going to be here is the trigeminal. We're going to have the trigeminal ganglion here. And it's going to give off its 3 branches: ophthalmic, maxillary, mandibular, right? So here, boom, 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 right? Here's the 3 branches. And what's going to happen is it's going to take branches off of V1. It's going to take branches off of V1, which is where you're going to have that lingual nerve. Okay, now this one's important because this lingual nerve is also going to come in and enter in with the nerve to Vidian canal, because remember the nerve or the name transferred, right? So what's going to happen is, let's get a red one out, is they're going to synapse here at this pterygopalatine ganglion, right? And once they synapse, then, because this is our goal right here. This is our goal. We need to get to the lacrimal gland, right? So let me actually label this lingual nerve right here, coming off of V sub 1, lingual nerve. And let's put on the side note over here. So we know that the greater petrosal nerve is carrying preganglionic parasympathetic, and the deep petrosal nerve was carrying preganglionic sympathetic, but it is now carrying, once it synapses at the superior cervical ganglion, it is now carrying post-ganglionic sympathetic fibers, right? And then they're going to become the nerve to Vidian canal, and then another name that I don't even want to talk about, right? And then once they synapse here, the greater petrosal nerve will now become the post-ganglionic parasympathetic. But the interesting thing, and this is what's crazy, is that the sympathetics are the only one in here that do not synapse, because they already synapsed, right? So they kind of just leave. And what's going to happen is this lingual nerve, as it goes in as well, it is going to be associated with GSA fibers. Or that might have been, you know what? Hold on a minute, guys. I got this wrong. I'm trying to think about it right here. It's not going to be the lingual nerve, guys. You know, if you want to unsubscribe, I 100% can agree with that. This is going to be the lacrimal nerve. I just realized that when I was thinking about the fibers. So lacrimal nerve is actually going to give GSA. Let's put that right here. This is going to give GSA fibers as it goes into the pterygopalatine ganglion. Then, once it comes out, these are going to come out. Sympathetics kind of just go away. These are going to go right to the lacrimal gland, along with the V sub 1 lacrimal nerve. It's going to pass through there. And there's also another nerve that's associated that is going to give off GSA fibers. Or, sorry, not GSA. GSA fibers. It's going to give off GSA fibers, and that is going to be from V sub 2, it's going to be zygomatical temporal, right? So the lacrimal gland, just to reiterate, is getting postganglionic parasympathetic from being synapsed at the pterygopalatine ganglion. It's also getting GSA fibers from the lacrimal nerve, and it's also getting GSA fibers from V2, which is the zygomatical temporal nerve. So that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and